video is all about how you can work your hustle muscle. Woohoo! Gotta keep going. Hi my loves, welcome back to my channel. So today I want to share with you my lessons that I've learned throughout my career journey and how they might be able to apply to yourself. Before we get started, please don't forget to hit like if you enjoyed this video and make sure to comment below, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and also hit the bell for notifications. I really felt like it was an important time to make this video, just hearing about so many different people experiencing mass layoffs, redundancies. There's a lot of fear at the workplace. So it's a really important time to really start self-reflecting and try to figure out what is your actual calling. What do you feel so passionate about? What would you feel like you could do continuously and never lose energy for it? That's what you need to channel yourself to do, and that's where you will find magic in yourself. I was definitely a serial entrepreneur. Any idea someone brought to me, any sort of like idea I had, I was like, ooh, I gotta try this. And I was trying a lot of things and I definitely failed at a lot of them. Like one time, me and my partner from the PR business, we got a kiosk in the mall together and we were selling things that we designed. I was doing everything I could to hustle. I made candles, and I had one client that was a huge order that made me a lot of money, but considering everything that I spent on products, I never even broke even. I made jewelry, we lost so much money, wasted so much time, it was a disaster, but I learned from it. And that's the important thing, is like, don't beat yourself up. Don't think that everybody who's an entrepreneur or anyone who even has career success has always been successful. Everybody fails. I just really want this video to give you guys hope for when you're feeling hopeless, and I want you to know that I've been there. My sisterhood has been there, all my family members have been there, and we all really just had to do our best to pick ourselves up and try to figure things out. A lot of you guys don't know about my history and how I first started my career. I did my bachelor's in finance because my father really pushed me into that career. I didn't want to study finance originally, but if you are from Middle Eastern heritage, you probably will relate. It's not really normal for us to do things like in fashion or beauty. And originally I really wanted to study fashion, but my dad was like, nope, not happening. He's like, you have a few options. You can do engineering or business. So I did business. And I do want to say shout out to my dad for encouraging me to study business, because I wouldn't be able to be where I am right now if he didn't. So I'm very grateful to that. But it wasn't something that I ever wanted to do. And when I first graduated from finance, I did the typical, like, what does a finance career path look like for success? And I was like, okay, the best job in finance, like one of the best jobs, is to be an investment banker. So I was like, I really need to make this happen. And I started studying, like, what kind of banks could I work for and what kind of job could I have to be successful. And I did end up getting a job as an investment banker for an incredible bank, but I was so miserable and I hated my job and I felt trapped. I felt like I was a trapped puppy inside a car trying to look out a window, and every day I'd be like, oh, I really want to get out of here. But I didn't know what I could do. I felt very confused. I was so scared of I don't have a background in anything else. And I think when you're kind of brainwashed that you need to have a degree and then do a career that is based off your degree, you get kind of scared to venture off into other things. So I really had to make a tough decision. And when it came to deciding on resigning, it was really, really tough. And I kept going back and forth forever because I was so terrified of things not working out. I was terrified of not having a job, of having to depend on my parents and not having any spending money at all. I was so scared of telling my dad, and I don't know why I cared about what he thought, but I think as a Middle Eastern person, your parents' opinion really does matter to you. And so when I told him that I really wanted to quit, he kept telling me, just wait till you finish a year so you at least have something on your CV in case you need to go back to it one day. So I remember as soon as a year passed, I typed up my resignation. I was too scared to hit send. So my sister Alia was like, oh, can you read the email? And she just hit send right away. I was like, what did you do? And I was sweating. I was so nervous. I was like, oh my God, well now it's too late to even second. I'm actually grateful she did it though, because I feel like if she didn't, I probably never would have hit send. I was too terrified. I was only 24 when I resigned. Actually, I just turned 25, I think. I can't remember. Anyway, didn't know what I was gonna do. And I remember running into my friend Noelle. She was like, where are you going? And she's like, you gonna have lunch? And I was like, oh, well, I just resigned, so I'm not gonna be here very long. And she's like, well, what are you gonna do? And I was like, I honestly have no idea. But I knew that I wasn't going to continue doing that. So that was what I was holding on to. It's not about knowing what you wanna do sometimes, it's knowing that you don't want to do something. After I quit my job, I really had no clue what I wanted to do. And one of my really good friends at the time, he suggested that we start an agency together because he was doing PR for a really big company at the time, but he was like, on the side, why don't I start an agency with you and we'll start working on some clients together and you can get experience in PR. Because everybody used to tell me I should do PR. I never thought, oh, I want to do PR, but people would always say, you'd be really good for PR because you naturally, when you love something, you tell everybody about it, you want to stop talking about it, you become obsessed. So I was like, okay, let me try this out. And so we started working on a few brands and it was really hard to get clients. This was in 2009 where PR was very new in Dubai. We'd go to clients and they'd be like, what is PR? We only know advertising and marketing, like what is this? So we'd have to explain to people what it was. It was a great experience and I'm so happy I did it because it gave me a lot of insight to what helped me with all the future things that I dabbled into. And it was very, very tough. Like financially, it was like, couldn't pay my bills with it. It was really, really challenging. And I had to decide. I remember like while I was about 6 months in and I was just trying to like get as much information as I could about learning from doing PR. People were like, oh, you've got your own business. I'm like, yeah. No, I'm self-employed. Like there's a big difference between like having a business where like you're able to employ others. When you're self-employed or when you're an entrepreneur, there's no blueprint and no one's telling you what to do, which is like amazing in some ways because you don't have a boss, but it's also crappy because you don't have anyone to give you advice. All my friends that I was hanging out with from university, like they all drove like new cars and they had fancy bags and they had like new clothes every time I saw them. They were going on holidays and I was like so tempted to go back into the career life and to go back into finance where I knew I would definitely make good money, but I would not be happy. And there was so many times where I was like going back and forth, but then I was like, you know what, I just have to stick it out. I need to give up my short-term pleasures for my long-term fulfillment. And I think that's something super important for all of us to think about right now. A lot of us exaggerate what we need. Our needs are actually very small. We don't need 90% of what we spend on. So if you can minimize what your needs are for the short term and really try to spend time to figure out what your calling is, and you give up that fancy paycheck for whatever, I think you're gonna get so much closer to what your calling is, which is gonna give you so much more long-term success. It's so easy to get tempted, and I was tempted all the time. I was like, oh, I really just want to have like a stable income. So how I fell into like other types of services for PR is actually when Huda was a makeup artist. She was asked to do an event with Dolce & Gabbana and they asked me to do the invites because they saw like how many people I was inviting to events and they were like, oh my God, these guest lists that you're bringing to the table is amazing. Can you do this for us for a fee? And I was like, I didn't even know I could make money off of doing invites and like inviting my friends to events. I was like, this is like a win-win. So it was just like a really funny service that I didn't even know I would be able to charge for that fell into my lap, and I'm really grateful it did because it was like finally a way to make, I wouldn't say good money, but decent money to kind of help cover bills. And at the time I was living on my own. And something I do want to say just to note is that during these times and throughout my whole PR career and even throughout my entire 20s, I would say that I was definitely a yes woman. Every time there were opportunities, even if I didn't fully understand it, I would say yes, just to get experience, to meet people. So I really do advise, if you're able to try out as many different things as you can. I did so many things for free. If I tell you the amount of clients I worked on for free, it was probably more than half, and then another 20% didn't pay ever. So it was definitely like a great learning experience, and I think it was a great taste for entrepreneurship to learn that you really have to get things done in writing, ask for deposits on things, and it taught me so much about like what you actually deal with when you do have a big company. So it's really, really important to go out and meet people. You never know what one person might lead you to, and make sure you keep a really organized contact database. For me, it was a great experience, and it helped me throughout so many things that I did later on after that. Like when I opened my salon, again, I had a great database to invite people to immediately, so it was immediately filled with people from like the beginning. When we launched Huda Beauty, you know, I invited a huge database. We broke records the day we launched because I invited so many amazing people who were supportive, and it was so important to everything that I did moving on and even until now. And then it came to a point when I ended up having to just really be full-time committed to Huda Beauty. I couldn't do it anymore, and I miss it sometimes. The main lesson from all of this is really to keep going, to keep experimenting, to keep having hope. And you just never know what might stick. Keep going, keep moving. You know, in Arabic we have this saying that my dad loves. It's al-haraka fi baraka, which means with movement there's a blessing. And I strongly believe in that. And I remember him telling me that back in the day when I was doing all of this, and I was like, ooh, it's so true. The more I move, even though the more mistakes I might make, but the more learnings I get, and also the more deals I get. So while doing all these different types of businesses and just really staying busy with everything that I was doing, me and Huda and Ali were working on developing the idea for Huda Beauty, and we worked on the lash line, and we're really trying so hard to get it into Sephora. And we tried for over a year and we weren't able to get anywhere. And then because I had my beauty salon at the time, I finally connected the dots that my distributor for a certain product for L'Oreal, Kerastase, and Redken also was a distributor that worked with Sephora. So I was able to connect those dots and use that relationship to get us into Sephora, which was Huda's dream at the time. When I did leave my job back in 2009, I never thought we would be where we were 5 years later, 10 years later. Like I never would have imagined this is where it would lead to eventually. And I just want you guys to know, like, nothing is ever easy, and it was not easy for me then. It's not easy for me now, even though we have quote unquote success that we've achieved. Nothing's ever easy. It's always challenging, but if you feel like it's your calling, it will be worth it. If you feel like there's fulfillment, it will be worth it. And that's why you got to chase fulfillment, not success. Not money, not titles, none of that. You've got to chase that feeling of like having your purpose fulfilled. This is what drives me, and that's why I'm saying, like, you've got to chase something that's going to drive you on like an internal level, and it's just going to keep you going no matter how crazy it gets, and it definitely will get crazy. Whether you have success or not, you're going to want to give up all the time, but you just have to not even give yourself the option of giving up. If giving up is on the table, you're going to take it, but don't allow yourself to even have the option, unless it's like to start a new chapter in something better. But if it's something that you're passionate about and you feel like it's worth fighting for, do not give up on it. And I do want to express to you guys that even if you find something that you love and you're passionate about and it's doing well, it doesn't mean you have to stop there. You've got to keep challenging yourself and keep growing. Like for me, even though I have like 10 full-time jobs between Huda Beauty, Kayali, and everything that we're doing, and HB Investments as well. Like there's a lot going on all the time, but I really wanted to make space for a new chapter in my life, which is dedicated to my channel and self-help and motivation. And I think it's what I'm super passionate about, and I feel like there's this magical energy there that I feel like is when, someone's trying to find their calling. So it's a new chapter for me. It's not easy. It takes a lot of my time, which I really don't have a lot of extra time, but I'm dedicating myself because I feel like it's important, and it's giving me another level of fulfillment, which I think that we all really need. No matter what, always keep going. So for today's quote of the day, I want to share one of my favorite verses that my best friend Hanouf always says to me. It's from the Quran. I'm gonna play her voice note because she says it so beautifully in Arabic. One second, let me find it.
It says, بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا صدق الله العظيم.
And the translation is, for indeed with every hardship there will be ease, which I think is really beautiful, because I look back at every time in my life where I struggled so hard, there was always a beautiful ease afterwards, and also just a rainbow. That's why I love rainbows so much. I just feel like after every struggle there's a beautiful rainbow, and you just have to embrace it. And even during the times where you feel like things are so hard, just remember all the other beautiful times that you had after your hard times, and they are coming. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to hit like and comment below and share your feedback. If you had an incredible journey yourself that you'd like to share with our community, please share it down below. And just remember to keep going, keep hustling, keep pursuing your passion. Every time that you feel alive, just channel that energy. I love you guys so much and can't wait to see you in my next video.